Making English easy for everyone.
Speak English with Jay and May.
Hey, English learners. Welcome back to Speak English with Jay and May, your cozy little place to build your English confidence. I'm May.
Hello, May, and hello, everyone. I'm Jay. How are you today, May?
I'm doing great, Jay. Actually, did you notice what I just said?
You said I'm doing great?
Exactly. And there it is, the word do. It's hiding right there in doing. We use it every single day without even thinking about it.
Oh, wow. I never thought about that. Do is such a small word, right?
It is. But here's the thing. Do is one of the most powerful words in English. It shows up everywhere, and it has so many different jobs.
Different jobs? You mean like do works in many different ways?
Yes, 11 surprising ways, actually. And by the end of today, you're going to see do in a completely new light.
11? Okay, now I'm really curious. I thought do only meant like doing an action, like do your homework.
Oh, Jay, do is so much more than homework. Trust me on this one.
All right, I trust you. But before we dive in, should we tell our listeners something first?
Oh, yes, real quick. If this podcast is helping your English, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share it with a friend who's also learning English. Every share means so much to us.
And we come back every single day, so hit that bell so you never miss an episode. Okay, May, let's go. Use number 1.
All right. Use number 1. Do as a helper verb for questions. This is the most common use. When we want to ask a question in the simple present or simple past, we use do or did.
Like, do you like coffee? Or, did you eat breakfast?
Perfect examples. Without do, the question sounds strange. You can't just say, you like coffee in formal English. Well, you can in casual speech, but do you like coffee is the standard correct form.
Oh, that makes sense. So do is like the question opener.
Exactly. Think of it like knocking on a door before entering. Do knocks first, then the real question comes in.
I love that. Do is knocking on the door. Okay, what's use number 2?
Use number 2. Do for negative sentences. We use don't or doesn't or didn't to make something negative.
Like, I don't like spicy food. Or, she doesn't drink coffee.
Yes, and here's something interesting. Without do, you'd have to say, I like not spicy food, which sounds completely wrong and awkward.
Oh, that really does sound weird.
Right? So do quietly saves your sentence every time. It's working in the background, making your English sound natural.
So do is like the grammar hero we never talk about.
I love that. Yes, the unsung hero. Okay, use number 3 is one of my favorites. Do for emphasis. And this one surprises a lot of learners.
Emphasis? You mean to make something stronger?
Exactly. When you really want to stress something, to show strong feeling, you can add do before the main verb, like, I do love your cooking, or she does care about you.
Wait, that sounds like something a character in a drama would say. Like, I do love you.
Yes, it's very dramatic, but it's also very real. People say this in real life, especially in emotional moments, or even casual moments like, you never listen. I do listen. I was listening the whole time.
Oh, I've heard that in arguments. Now I understand what's happening.
And notice the stress is on do. I do listen. That's the key. The emphasis lives in do.
So this is already blowing my mind, and we're only on 3.
Wait, here's where it gets even more interesting. Use number 4, do as a substitute verb. This means we use do to replace another verb that was already mentioned to avoid repeating it.
Can you give me an example? I'm not sure I'm following.
Sure. Imagine someone says, I exercise every morning, and you respond, I do too. You're not saying, I exercise too, you're just using do to replace exercise.
Oh, so do is standing in for the other verb, like a substitute teacher.
Yes, a substitute teacher. When the main verb is absent, do steps in and takes the job.
That's such a good way to think about it. So instead of repeating the same verb, we just say do.
Right. She speaks 3 languages. Does she? I do too. See how do is doing all the heavy lifting there?
I love this. Okay, use number 5.
Use number 5. Do with activities and tasks. This is very everyday usage. We say, do the dishes, do the laundry, do your homework, do the shopping.
Oh, these are so common. I use these all the time, actually.
We all do. And notice, we don't usually say make the dishes or make the laundry. It's always do. This is where a lot of learners get confused between do and make.
Oh, yes, the do and make confusion. That one trips me up too.
Simple rule. Do is for tasks and duties, things you have to perform. Make is usually for creating something physical, like make a sandwich or make a decision.
So, do the cooking, but make a meal. Both can work depending on the situation.
Exactly right. Context is everything, and the more you listen and practice, the more natural it becomes.
Okay, use number 6. Bring it.
Use number 6. Do to talk about studying or learning a subject, like I'm doing chemistry this semester, or she did French in high school.
Wait, doing chemistry? You mean like studying chemistry?
Yes, in everyday English, especially in British English, people say do for subjects. What are you doing at university? I'm doing business management.
That's so interesting. I would have said studying or taking a subject.
Both are correct, but do is a very natural, casual way to talk about it, and you'll hear it a lot in conversation.
I honestly had no idea do could mean that. This is one of those things nobody teaches you in a textbook.
Exactly. Real English lives outside the textbook, and that's why we're here every day.
Okay, number 7?
Use number 7. Do to talk about how something is going or performing, like how is the business doing, or the economy is doing well, or even she's doing really good in school.
Oh, I use that one. How are you doing is the same thing, right?
Yes, how are you doing means how is your life going? How are things performing for you? Do here is about progress and condition.
So, doing can describe a state, not just an action.
Beautiful observation. Yes, the patient is doing better. The team did great in the game. It's all about progress and condition.
This is where things change, isn't it? When we realize do isn't just about actions.
Exactly. And this connects to use number 8. Do in exclamations and commands to soften or strengthen a request.
Soften, like make it more polite?
Yes, do sit down, do help yourself, do be careful. These sound very warm and inviting. In British English especially, this sounds very elegant and polite.
But it also sounds a little formal, doesn't it?
It can, yes, but imagine a grandmother saying, do have some more cake, dear. That's not formal, that's warm and caring.
Oh, I can picture that perfectly. Okay, that's lovely.
And the opposite, you can also use it to make something more firm, like a parent saying, do not touch that. Very strong, very clear.
So, do can be gentle or intense depending on how you use it. Wow.
It's all about the tone and the context. Same word, completely different energy.
Okay, we've got 3 more. What's number 9?
Use number 9, and this one surprises people. Do to talk about completing or finishing something, like that will do, or this room will do.
This room will do? You mean like the room is good enough?
Yes, will do means it's acceptable, it's sufficient, it meets the need. Like if you're looking for a hotel room and it's not perfect, but it's okay, this will do.
Oh, and people also say that'll do to mean, okay, stop, that's enough.
Exactly. Imagine a parent taking a photo of their kids. Okay, smile, smile, one more, that'll do. It means, okay, we have what we need.
I love that example. I can hear a mom saying that perfectly.
And here's another. Will you do that for me doesn't just mean perform an action, it also carries the meaning of, is that sufficient? Can you handle it? It's layered.
Okay, I want to pause and say, this little word do is seriously doing a lot of work.
It really is. It's basically the hardest working word in English.
All right, number 10.
Use number 10, do for describing personal care and grooming, like do your hair, do your nails, do your makeup.
Oh, yes. I hear this all the time. I need to do my hair before we go.
And we don't say make your hair in this context. Well, unless you're building a hair sculpture. But for grooming, it's always do.
So when you're getting ready in the morning, you basically do yourself.
I mean, yes, you do your hair, do your nails, maybe do your eyebrows. It's all part of the morning routine.
That's such a practical example. Every single day, millions of people are using do and they don't even realize it.
That's the beauty of it. Real English is all around you. You just need to know where to look.
Okay, last one. Use number 11. And you said this one is surprising. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. Use number 11, do in informal speech to mean visit or experience something, like we did Paris last summer, or we did 3 museums in one day.
Oh, we did Paris? You mean you visited Paris?
Yes, in casual English, especially among travelers, do a place means to visit or experience it fully. We did Italy in 2 weeks. We're doing the whole coast this trip.
That's so cool. It sounds very natural and confident when people say it.
Right? It has this energy of we went there, we experienced it, we checked it off. Very adventurous.
You won't believe I've heard this before and I never knew what it meant. I thought we did Paris meant something else entirely.
Context is everything, Jay. In a travel conversation, we did Paris means we visited Paris. Easy.
Okay, so let me try to summarize all 11 because honestly, my brain is a little full right now.
Go for it. Let's see how many you remember.
Okay, 1, helper verb for questions, 2, for negatives, 3, for emphasis, 4, as a substitute verb, 5, for tasks and chores, 6, for studying a subject, 7, for describing how something is going, 8, to soften or strengthen commands, 9, to mean something is sufficient, 10, for grooming, and 11, for visiting a place.
Jay, that was perfect. You got all 11.
Okay, I was paying attention. You're a great teacher, May.
Oh, stop it. We learned together. That's always been the magic of this show.
Okay, so now I want to ask our listeners to try something. Can we give them a little challenge?
Yes, let's do it. Imagine this. It's Monday morning, you wake up, you do your hair, you do your makeup, or maybe just wash your face. You do the dishes from last night, and then someone texts you, "Do you want to go out tonight?" And you say, "I do. Let's do something fun. Maybe we can do the new restaurant downtown."
And in those few sentences, do appeared how many times?
Count them. Listeners, pause right here and count how many times do or a form of do appeared in that little morning story.
I love this. It really shows how natural do is. It's just woven into everything.
And here's what I want you to really take away from today. You're already using do every single day. You're already speaking English. You just didn't know the names for what you were doing.
That's actually really empowering to hear.
Language learning doesn't have to feel scary. Sometimes it's just about understanding the tools you already have in your hands.
Like do. You've been holding this tool forever. You just didn't know it had 11 settings.
Exactly. 11 settings on your English power tool.
Okay, before we close, I have to ask our listeners a question because I'm genuinely curious.
Oh yes, let's do it.
All right, listeners, out of all 11 uses of do today, which one surprised you the most? Was it do for emphasis? Do meaning to visit a place? Or maybe will do, meaning something is enough?
Leave your answer in the comments. We read every single one, and we love hearing from you. It keeps us going every day.
And if you have a word or grammar topic you'd love for us to explore, tell us. We might make an episode just for you.
We hope you enjoy this session. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with someone who's on their English journey. Your support means everything to us.
And remember, we're here every single day, so come back tomorrow. We'll be here waiting.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. You're doing amazing.
See you tomorrow, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.